Hey, everybody. Hope you are doing awesome. Wanted to share a very simple conversation with you today. It's really more of a question than anything. Are you asking for what you want most out of life? Now, this is something that you've probably considered this question if you've read self-help books or nonfiction books, or you've ever watched YouTube video that's inspirational or done coaching. But this is something that a lot of people in the business world seem to lose sight of when they look at their lifestyle. So a lot of people will focus on the income side of growth. They'll say, Wade, look, I used to make, let's say, $5 an hour. And then eventually I made $10 an hour. And then I kept growing. And then I made $20 an hour, or whatever the number might be. And I kept making more and more money as I grew. And then I reached a point where as I made more money, I started spending more money so I could enjoy the money. And so I kept just making more and more money. And I made sure, Wade, that as I was growing, that I was getting raises, I was getting recognition, I was getting a chance to make more money, have a greater impact, perhaps have more power, more prestige, more benefits. And yet in this entire conversation, nowhere in there did I think about my free time. So here I am, Wade. I've been doing my career for 20 years, 30 years, and I still have 2 to 3 weeks of paid vacation. Now, depending on where you are in the world, you might have much more than that. There are parts of the world where people have 4 weeks and 6 weeks and 8 weeks of paid vacation, simply because that's how their culture understands how free time should work. And of course, the businesses probably pay a little bit less. You still have to make enough money to afford this. It's not magic, but it is a sense of really looking at what you want most. So what I encourage you to consider is right now, in your current work situation, are you getting what you want? And if you're not getting what you want, are you asking for it? And so to take a step before that, do you even know what you want? And this is one of those questions that sometimes can go off onto one of these really intense visions where a person says, well, wait, I'd love to make $20 million a year. And this whole vision that is 100 steps removed from where they are. When I say, what do you want? I'm going to use the word want in the sense of want equals I'm willing to do the work to get it, which is different than what do you wish for? I wish for that something would happen. I wish for things to be a certain way, but I really don't want to do the work. Let's call that a wish. But what you actually want to do, that you're willing to put in the work, and that is reasonable within a 1 to 2 year period. I'm not saying you don't want to dream big, but we don't want to dream so big that we don't believe in it. And so we don't take action because it seems too crazy, too unlikely that it would happen. So I encourage you to just take a moment here and pause just for 2 to 3 seconds here. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. And just think, what is different in your world than you would like it to be? Or to word it differently, how could you improve things? How would you want your work situation to be better? How would you want your weekend situation to be better? Your free time situation to be better? What would that look like? And after this, you can pause this later and take a while and write that out. What would it look like for things to be the way you want? So first, we've got to envision it and see it in some way. And this is a very common practice, so this might be very common for you. The second thing then is to see, can you start communicating that? Are you asking the right person for that? If it's date night with your spouse or your partner, it might be that that's on your vision, but you need to ask them, hey, would you like to go out on a date sometime? If it is something that relates to a raise financially, you might need to talk to the person you work for if you're an employee, or you might need to look at raising your prices if you're an entrepreneur. If it has to do with free time, it might be something as simple as looking at what would you like your schedule to be like and seeing how you can get there. And I encourage you to approach this as an economic adult. So an economic child will say something like, will you please pay so that I can have more time off, regardless of whether I make more money or not? That is an economic child view of the world. An economic adult says something like, whether it be to your clients if you're an entrepreneur, or to your employer if you work for somebody, what is it that I could do that would be worth X amount of money to you? And I know, by the way, that X amount of money means at a certain amount of money, I can afford my expenses because I've done the math, I've done the budgeting, I've thought it through of what I would need to create the lifestyle I want. And so I know how much money I need to make that happen. And I'm willing to ask for that. I'm willing to ask for the opportunity to earn that, not to have it given to me, but the opportunity to earn it if I can hit certain results. And so if I'm an employer, I would want somebody to come to me and say, I'm willing to get certain results, Mr. or Mrs. Employer. I hope they call me Mr. Employer because I'm a guy. But anyway, I would want them to say, would you get certain results? What results do you need in order for this to work? And I'd say, well, I need these results in order for this to work. And if you can get these results, I can afford to not have you come in that 5th day of the week or whatever it might be. I can afford to have you take a certain time off because it works financially. And that's an adult conversation economically. And so what I encourage you to consider is take that time, write down what you'd like to see in your life that's different than now, and start looking at who it is that can help you make that happen. And what question can you ask to open the conversation, not to finish the conversation. So the question to your clients, if you're an entrepreneur, would be, hey, I'm currently doing X for you, and we know I make a certain amount for that. What else could I do for you that I'm not doing for you that you'd be interested in, that would make a big difference in your world or in your life? And they might say, okay, these are these things. And then you can go deeper into what would that look like. So I encourage you to start asking for what you want, but first start looking at what is it that could make that happen? What is it that could be allowing you to make that possible? And how can you start a conversation that's not a one-time conversation, but an ongoing conversation that involves you getting clear about what you want, finding out who are the people, the players that need that help from you, and how you can make that happen for them, and how you can connect those two to create the life, the lifestyle, the income, the free time that you most desire. So I hope you find this helpful. As always, if you have any questions on this, please feel free to reach out to me in the comment section, send me an email. And then if you're looking for help to start creating your abundant and sustainable 3-day weekend lifestyle, go to 3dayweekendclub.com. And that's where we have our community where we'll help you start creating your 3-day weekend lifestyle. Part of the community is focused on the 3 days. In other words, making the most out of the money, the time, the relationships, the things you already have available on your time off. And then another part of the community is focused on that 4-day work week part. How do you create the results through efficiencies, through delegation, through greater productivity so that you can make the income you need? Again, thanks for coming out. As always, look forward to helping you help more people and make more money in less time, doing what you do best so you can better enjoy your family, your friends, and your life. Thanks so much for listening.